show of the season. Newcastle have ended pretty much how things have been going. 4 defeats in 5 with a 3-1 defeat at home to champions Liverpool. And we want to hear from you for the last time this season. Click the link in the description and in the live chat, and you can come and tell us what you thought of today's game. We've already got Callum and Jake waiting. We'll get them on shortly. Right, straight to it. To my south, I am joined by Owen Shepherd. Young Owen, how are we?
I'm great, thanks. Yourself, mate?
I'm good. Bit of a disappointing way to end the season. But, what did you make of today's game? We were wearing the new shirt, of course.
Oh, that new shirt. The badge isn't even embroidered anymore. It's just printed on. I don't know if you saw that, but today's game. It's annoying because I half expected us to get something from this game, if it's just a point, just to end the season on a high note. You know what I mean? Liverpool have nothing to play for anymore. They've lifted the trophy. I thought they would have just, sort of sat back and relaxed. And the way that Liverpool lineup looked to begin with, it looked that they were just going to sort of just rotate and just let the ones that don't usually play play. But they ended up turning it around in the end, and it wasn't a great. I don't think we played great. We haven't for most of the season, to be honest. But I mean, it's always a positive when you score in under a minute. It obviously means that we caught Liverpool off guard, but that's about the only highlight of the game, I'd say, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of made it sporting with the team they set out with. So, like I say, if you want to come in and talk to me and Owen this evening, click the link in the live chat and the description. We'll also play a little game with a few of you as well today, a little yes-no game which I've devised, looking ahead to next season and looking back at this season. Now it's all done. Owen, I have a trivia question for you. I know how much you like trivia, seeing as though the last time we went face to face in a quiz scenario. That didn't go your way this time. When was the last time Newcastle failed to win on the last day of the season?
Last time Newcastle failed to win on the last day of the season. Well, it wasn't last season. It's not this season. Wasn't the well, it is this season.
It is this
wasn't
season.
The season? Wasn't when we beat Chelsea. Wasn't the Championship season. Wasn't the season before that because we beat Spurs 5-1. Wasn't the season before that because we beat West Ham on the final day. So was it the season before that?
It was. Well done. 2014. Who were our opponents that day? For a bonus point.
It's going to be a complete guess.
Come on.
I'm going to say... no clue, man.
We're only on air for an hour. Come on.
I want to say Everton. I want to say Everton, but it probably isn't.
Oh, you're so close. It was Liverpool.
Oh, really?
It was Liverpool. 2-1 at Anfield, a 2-1 defeat, where Shola Amieri went out in style, like he channeled his inner Zinedine Zidane, where he left Newcastle United with a red card. But there we go. But yes, you were quite right in saying 2014. Right. Owen, pick a number between 1 and 3.
I'll go with the amount of goals we conceded today, 3.
Please welcome PD Proudlock to the fan reaction show. Peter, good evening.
Hey, how are you all doing?
Well, it could have been better, couldn't it? But hey ho, let's get straight into it. What did you make of the Newcastle lineup?
Again, Bentaleb, really do I need to say more? And considering that Matty Longstaff was not on the bench, I think he's definitely off for sure. But again, I wouldn't mind if Callum Watts there played from the start as well.
Yes, well, congratulations to young Callum Watts, who made his Newcastle debut today. But you were right in what you say. Bentaleb continued to start, much to our dismay. Do you think that deal's going to be made permanent? Because I've got a horrible feeling it might.
Hopefully not, but the thing is he on like 80 grand a week at Schalke?
He is.
Yeah, it all depends, because if he's demanding that, yeah, then you got that feeling it could not happen. But again, I feel like it again, I wouldn't be surprised if it did end up signing permanently at this rate.
Yeah. Oh, and isn't it just a typical Newcastle United thing to do, to let Matty Longstaff go when we could pay him 20 to 30 grand a week and then go and sign Nabil Bentaleb, who nearly made one hell of a horrendous pass before he went off. To sign him up for 80k a week. It's typical Newcastle United, is it not?
It's typical Newcastle, but more typical of Mike Ashley and Lee Charnley. I mean, Matty Longstaff has done more for Newcastle in way less games than Bentaleb, and yet Bentaleb is the one expected to be signed. I think his release clause for like part of the loan agreement was like 8.5 million, and then his wages are like 85 grand a week or something like that. And then we've got Matty Longstaff, who is already on our books, who's asking for 20 to 30 grand a week. Just bin Bentaleb off and like give Matty the first team role that he wants, give him the money that he wants, because he given by far more than what Nabil Bentaleb has given in the 6 months he's been here. So, yeah.
Well, Peter, let's start with the kind of only positive in the game. And talking of peaking far too soon, Newcastle took the lead after 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ingenious from John Joe Shelby with a bit of quick thinking. Straight through to Dwight Gayle, who was onside, just about. And he slapped it home. What were you thinking then? It couldn't get any better, could it?
Well, it's just typical Newcastle, isn't it? Try to always like sit back and bite the pressure on. And when you do that against a Liverpool side who've got quality all around, you know what's going to happen for sure. But to be honest, after
they didn't have quality all around at the start.
That's true, but
it doesn't look much.
It still always happens. But to be honest, with our players, we've been on the beach ever since beating Bournemouth. That is the reality of it. We're still on the beach after Bournemouth, that is for sure. So that's why.
That's a very good point. Owen, you live in Bournemouth. Have you seen any Newcastle players on your local beach lately?
No, I must admit I've seen any Newcastle players on the beach, but I've seen far too many people on the beach, and that's about as much as I'll say about that.
That's a separate issue. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Keep politics out of football. Well, if only that could be the case for the takeover, but I digress. True. Moving on. Peter, let's look back on the season. Would you have taken 13th at the start of the season?
Yes, because I thought there was a lot of fans going to be worried that we could have been sucked right into a relegation battle, that is for sure. Particularly when you go from Rafa Benitez to Steve Bruce, but it's expected under this current ownership, always going to be mid-table relegation battles. That's how I see it at this moment of time under the ownership that we're under still.
Yeah, very, very true. Final one before I let you go. Let's just do a couple of yes/no questions. Oh, don't want any explanation. Do not show you're working. Just yes or no. Quick fire-ish, depending on how much lag we've got on the stream. Okay, so last game under Ashley, yes or no?
No.
Do we get rid of Dwight Gayle?
I think yes. Yes.
Do we sign Danny Rose on a permanent?
No.
And finally, will ASM stay this summer?
I'm going to say yes.
God, I hope you're right. Peter, always a pleasure, pal. Thank you very much for coming on. And do be sure to check out PD Proudlock on YouTube. Owen, let's talk a little bit about Dwight Gayle before we bring on Callum, followed by Jake. He's been on fire for us. He's our top scoring striker, at least.
Yep.
Is there an argument that we really should be keeping him?
Yeah, and to be honest, I think we probably should if there is no takeover that goes through this summer. I think Dwight Gayle has proved in these games that he's played after the restart. I know obviously he played here and there before football got stopped, but I think he's proved from after the restart that he can be prolific in the Premier League. It just needs to be shown faith. I think the fact that there's been no fans in stadiums, there's been no pressure on his back. There's only been that arm round his shoulder from Steve Bruce has only really helped Dwight Gayle, really, and we've seen him technically flourish. I mean, he's not, and by no means is he still one. He's not one of the best strikers, if not in the top 10 strike anywhere like that in the Premier League. But he's proved that he can score on a consistent basis against lower end of the table teams, which is, if you're in Newcastle's position pre-takeover, that's what you need. Someone who's going to grab you 10-ish goals a season by scoring against the lower end of the table side. So, I mean, if Gayle can do that again next season, then yeah, I say keep him because he's done a far better job than what Joe Linton has done. And all Gayle did was go on loan to a Championship club last season. Got his chance this season and has proved us all wrong, really. So I think he does deserve to stay. But saying that, if there is no takeover, will we then need them? I know the money is unlikely to go back into a new signing, but could we do with the money from selling Gayle? Who knows?
Yeah, I think we all know by now that a lot of things that are going to happen in the next couple of months are takeover dependent. It's been now that's been the frustration over the past few weeks. Over on NFTV Extra right now, Lee is live with his instant match reaction. Look at me hiding behind the Liverpool badge. But so do check that out after you've finished here with us. And then also we've got Scoring the Players with Johnny, myself, and the departing Kyle Thompson before Lee is back with the last word later on this evening. So let's welcome on now Callum, who is a regular with us on the Fan Reaction Show. Good evening, Callum. How are you?
Good evening, guys. I'm all right, thanks to you.
Yeah, good, mate. What did you think of the game today?
Well, I watched the BBC final score after the first of the 25-second score is on wheel.
Yeah, it certainly was very surreal. I'll be honest, Owen, when I was watching it, I didn't realise it had even gone in. But obviously, there's no fans there to let you know there's been a goal. I was only really, I'd not long finished with the Red Men, so I went downstairs, turned round, and Gale's walking off. There wasn't really much of a celebration from him. I was a bit perplexed. Did you have similar feelings, or were you going mad?
I didn't see it going. I don't think anybody, even BT Sports cameras were behind the action. They only just about filmed it going over the line. But I was just sort of when you first start watching the game, you sort of just getting comfortable. You sort of just, you're having a sip of your beer, and I'm looking at the screen again. I'm like, is Gayle just scored? Because there was not even any fan noise going on. Like BT Sport hadn't even played any noise for the goal. So I was completely perplexed when that goal went in, and I was unsure of what had happened.
Callum, would you be signing Nabil Bentaleb?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sign. I thought he's not good.
Yeah, no, it's I think if anyone has watched anything NFTV over the past few weeks and months now, I think you're all pretty much aware of how, not just me, but how we all feel about Nabil Bentaleb. Callum, before I let you go, a couple of quick fire yes or no answers again, like I did with Peter. Don't show you working out, just quick fire yes or no answers. Has Dubravka been the player of the season for you?
Yes.
Will Andy Carroll score a goal next season?
I would tell you, but I say no.
And has Steve Bruce done a good job?
Sorry, Andy Carroll.
Yeah, no, you can't apologise. Finally, has Steve Bruce done a good job?
I say 50-50 that. FA Cup, yes. And the
You
rest,
can't say
no.
50-50. It's a yes or no game.
Sorry, Sam. Oh, God, this would be a tough one. Okay, I'll say no.
Ooh, Callum, controversial. Thank you for coming on this season, and we will see you no doubt. We will no doubt see you next season. Cheers, Callum. Callum, very harsh on Steve Bruce with a 13th place finish, Owen.
Yes, incredibly harsh. To be honest, I think
Would you
he's
have
done a
taken
good job. I wouldn't have taken Come on. Take 13th. No one takes 13th. No one takes 13th. I mean, at the start of the season when we hired Bruce, I was taking not getting relegated. And then I sort of saw, as a Newcastle fan, you don't take 13th. You don't take that. But with Bruce, I was just taking not being relegated. So, yeah.
Yes, I think that's very, very fair considering. More quick-fire questions to guests later on in the show. But now let's keep going and welcome on Jake, who's been waiting patiently now for 15 minutes. Good evening, Jake. You all right?
Evening, lads. How are you?
I feel the same as how you sound from the looks of it. How disappointed were you with that, second half in particular, but that game on a whole today? How disappointed was it?
There's nothing we could have done, really. They're top of the league, too good of a team. But we didn't do. There's too many mistakes.
Yeah, you say that. Their lineup wasn't anything to be really scared of. I thought I know they brought on Salah, Mane, and Firmino after an hour, just when we go 2-1 down, which was very kind of them. But certainly the team that was on the pitch for the first hour, I wouldn't have thought Newcastle should have held any fear.
We would have still been 1-0 up if Fernandez didn't duck his head for Origi's goal. He could have just stood his ground and kept him up. He's the only centre back in the team, and he let us down.
Owen, what did you make of Fernandez today? I'll be honest, I disagree slightly with Jake there. I thought he was all right.
I don't get me wrong. I thought he had an all right game, but James is completely correct. Jake is completely correct there with the fact that he's a centre half. The centre halves usually associated with being as hard as nails, and he's ducking his head for a ball coming at him when that's a centre half's job is to head balls away half the time. It's a bit of a joke, really. So I think Jake's spot on, and he should have done better for Origi's goal. We wouldn't have then gone 2-1 down, and who knows what could have happened. But overall, I think he had a pretty decent game, and much like this season, he's been incredibly underrated this season. I'd say he's definitely one of the most underrated defenders in the Premier League for the job he does week in, week out. It's not often he makes an absolute howler of a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that photo of Van Dijk's equaliser, Jake, it seemed a bit of a joke how Fernandez is in front and there's almost kind of left Van Dijk to Javier Manquillo there, who's about 5'4". Not great defending, was it?
No, it was terrible. Because I heard Bentaleb was on Van Dijk the whole time, and he's not the tallest. So there was if Lascelles was there, he would have put himself on Van Dijk. But Shelvey's not much of a captain, so he didn't sort it out properly. So we lacked a leader.
Yeah. Do you think we were missing the leadership of a Jamal Lascelles today?
Yeah, he's very good for leadership. Because Shelvey's not the most.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He hardly leads from the front, does he? Owen, he's not a Jamal Lascelles or even like someone of a Matt Ritchie kind of ilk.
No, I think with a captain you have to have a very fine balance. I think Ritchie, he has the correct passion to be a captain, but maybe doesn't quite go the right way about things. He's quite a shouty man, quite a shouty little man. I know he's your mate and he's a nice lad, but quite a shouty little man. Whereas Lascelles, I think he has that right balance. He can be your mate, but he's very firm. And Shelvey is just one of the quietest on that team, I think. When you see him in interviews, he's always quite timid, doesn't make much eye contact with the camera. And I think that sort of just sums up really the type of person and player he is when it comes to wearing the armband. I remember I was around December time that we played a few matches and he wore the armband for them, and he was having this period of scoring goals and wearing the armband. And everyone seems to think, oh, this is finally Shelvey and doing his thing. But I think we definitely do lack Lascelles when he's not in the team. We've seen it seasons gone by. We've seen it this season. We lack just having someone who with a loud voice that knows how to organise a defence.
Yeah, absolutely. Here. Jake, final one. What do you think of the new the new home shirt? Are you a fan? Will you be buying it for 65 Great British pounds?
No, I won't be buying it unless I won't be buying the home one probably. But it's a standard.
No.
Newcastle.
Do you like the shirt, or do you think it's a bit of a lazy design from Puma?
It's a standard Newcastle kit, black and white. There's nothing they can really do. They've added more stripes to last season.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Jake, thank you for coming on with us as ever, and we will see you next season, no doubt. That was Jake there. Spoiler alert, the fan reaction show is returning next season. So it's been quite popular since the restart. So we're going to keep it going. Whoever's not at the game gets the pleasure of hosting the fan reaction show. So probably me. Or even young Owen. All the way down on the south coast there.
Yeah.
So, it was 1-1. Liverpool have dominated possession. Do you think Newcastle were kind of playing for the draw? Because I didn't see them wanting to venture forward too much.
No, and I think that's a massive shame. I think they definitely were playing for the draw. I think they were playing for something in this game. You know, I genuinely think that with the mentality that team has at the moment, they're quite happy to lose 3-1, but at least they've scored a goal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think they looked relatively happy to just sit there at 1-1 and not try any harder, which is a massive shame because that's not Newcastle. That's not the way we play. That's not the way we roll, is it? Should always be go back at the other end, score more goals than the other team. But unfortunately, we don't have that anymore, and it came back to bite us in the end today, just like it has a million other times before.
Yeah, typical Newcastle United, some would say, but there we go. We have got Lawrence waiting. We've got everyone's favourite Premier League letter writing, team scrapping, James Fernie waiting, and we've also got Rowan waiting as well. We will get to you shortly, chaps. In fact, let's go to Lawrence now. He's been waiting the longest. Let's bring in Mr. Taylor. Good evening, Lawrence. How are you?
All right.
Yeah. How disappointed were you with that performance today?
Did well in the first half, taking the lead, but second half, we just weren't at it.
Do you agree with Steve Bruce playing with three centre-backs again when we've only, let's face it, got Fernandes and I know Watts came on and made his debut, but Javier Manquillo and Danny Rose, centre-backs, really?
It's ridiculous. I mean, for me, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, it's formations that have worked. Why go back to playing three centre-backs, especially full-backs at centre-back? I mean, I'm glad we gave Callum Watts his debut, but why not, if you haven't got many centre-backs, even give him his debut Monday night, especially if Kraft's coming off.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think Steve Bruce knows his strongest 11, Lawrence?
Man, not really at this point because, I mean, no.
Owen, do you think he knows his strongest 11, or should he ought to know it by now? He's been here a year almost.
He he probably ought to know it, but I don't think he does. But in fairness to him, that best starting 11 probably changes more than anybody, like more than any other team in the Premier League each season. With the amount of players that come in and out of form, one week you'll think, yeah, this is it. Like when we beat West Brom 3-2 in the FA Cup, that team he started then, he probably thought, yeah, this is what I'll roll with for the rest of the season. He plays that team at Southampton away, I think it was, or he made a few changes, and it wasn't quite the same. Like it took us a while to get into gear. So I think he's must have thought that he's found his team a couple of times this season, but it's changed quite a bit, which is sticking up for him a little bit. But I think as a manager, you should probably know what players are suited for what roles and when. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lawrence. One thing I find, I say interesting, but it's kind of making me bang my head against a brick wall.
All right.
I see a lot of players linked with us already, and they all seem to be centre midfielders, which is kind of one area, along with centre back, that we're pretty much okay on. Surely, Steve Bruce and the club in general should be targeting other areas of the pitch other than centre mid.
Absolutely, but then again, it could just be stuff to fill papers. You know, I never really read into paper rumours, if I'm honest. But yeah, I think for a midfielder, I think we need at least one, because I would not be signed Bentaleb. But I think striker should be the priority. I know Gale's finished the season well, but I'm not sure I want to keep him. Centre backs were going on. In fact, I'd happily probably sell one centre back, because we're playing with. If we're gonna play with like a 4-2-3-1.
Which centre back would you sell?
Oh, it's such a difficult one, to be honest. I mean, I don't really want to think about it. I think need a right back.
You're not ducking out of it. You are Steve Bruce. Which centre back do you sell? Come on, Lawrence.
I think if you're going off this season, probably is Lejeune. He's not, but I have to say he's not been helped by how he's managed over the festive period.
Yeah, very, very true. Okay, Lawrence, before I let you go, couple of yes/nos for you. Don't show you're working, just bang, bang, bang. Okay. Would you have taken 13th at the start of the season, yes or no?
Probably, yeah.
Will Joe Linton come good next season?
I really don't know, to be honest.
Yes or no?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, I'll say no, but I could easily be wrong.
And will ASM stay this summer?
Yes, I feel like him getting pictures in the new home kit is a hint.
Yeah, I agree. Lawrence, thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you again soon, no doubt. That was Lawrence there. And Mr. Lawler's in the comments praising him for picking Lejeune as the one to sell. Owen, who would you be selling if you have to sell one of our 6 centre backs?
Just to piss Lee off, I'm going to say Fabian Schär, because I know how much he fancies him.
I'm hearing you.
But to be honest, I think with Lejeune, yes, when he's played this season, he's been absolutely terrible, especially over that festive period. I think of the Leicester game comes to mind, and I have severe flashbacks about that day. But I think when you look back at what Lejeune did in the season we came back up to the Premier League, and he was partnered with Lascelles for like the second half of the season, I didn't think he was actually that bad then. I thought he was actually quite a rock-solid defender. Very similar to Fernandes in a way, I think. But I think where he was injured for so long and didn't play for so long, to chuck him straight back in and how shocking he was then, it was a bit unfair to just judge him off that. But I'd probably say Fabian Schär. Probably get more money for Fabian Schär as well, to be honest. So, Yeah, why not sell Share and
1
keep
year left
Lejeune?
now on his contract.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would be
I think
keeping
cash
Lejeune.
in now. I think cash in now on Share if he's only got 1
Yeah,
year left on
cashing
his
now
contract.
on Share. I don't want to kind of argue the point because I'm not disagreeing with you, but we can't have short memories. And if you go back to kind of September, October time of the season, Share had 2 proper man of the match performances at home to Watford and at home to Brighton.
Yeah.
So is it just a bad patch of form for Share? Or are we being a bit harsh in just saying no, get rid?
Probably I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Football fans are very fickle. I'm very fickle myself. I think what Share is going through now is possibly what Lejeune went through, because Share has played barely any games since Bruce has come in, really. Since when we were playing a back three, he was sort of fitted in the plans, and then he had like a little spell where he was injured, and then we switched to a back four and he wasn't involved. It was Fernandes and Lascelles, and then even I'm sure once someone got injured, and I think Clark still got in overhead. This season has been so muddled, I can barely remember myself. But all I know is Share hasn't had the easiest season out of any player in that squad. And I think, possibly he doesn't deserve the discredit that he gets as often as he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you say there, that in this season has been all over the place. It's been absolutely mad. It looks like he's walking home from somewhere, or he's escaped from somewhere, but let's welcome on James now. He always provides opinion, especially in the comments. Come on, James, sort yourself out. James. Unbelievable. He's definitely escaped from some kind of asylum there, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Definitely.
probably.
Definitely.
Either that or the takeover's gone through and he's walking down St. James's Park to celebrate. God knows.
Right, let's try him again. James, are you ready to come on this time? You've had a warm up. Try again. James, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm good to see you.
Hey!
You got changed now. Right.
We're getting
Rob.
changed now. Honestly. These people. I'm Ronaldo, 1985 in the comments. Gayle needs to stay. The reseller kid also says, need to keep Gayle. Decent striker gets you 10 plus goals a season if he plays regularly. Might have a point there. How many goals has he scored since restart?
No. Because if you remember, and you remember correctly, the season we came up from the Championship, Gayle played, I'd say, about 70% of the games that season. It was a toss-up between him and Hosselu, and then what ended up happening was Hosselu just ended up getting dropped because he was dog shit. And Gayle got too many chances that season and absolutely cooked up. I think he ended up getting like 6 goals and whatever. Gayle isn't Premier League standard. I don't think he's going to get you 10 plus goals a season guaranteed. But if he keeps the form up that he's had in the restart, could well be looking at 10 to 15 goals a season. But I think just to say Gayle as a 10 plus goal a season striker is a bit of a joke, really.
I don't know. I mean, he should be entering his peak years now, and he's a poacher. He will, apart from, let's just forget that miss against Manchester City, because these things happen. Although it was a really, really bad miss. 10 goals a season in the Premier League for Dwight Gayle, is that really too far-fetched? Really?
I think with the team we've got at the moment, I think with Gayle, like if you chuck Gayle in Manchester City's team, he's bagging you 15 goals a season, because he's getting that high quality of chance. Whereas, yes, he's a poacher, and I think for a poacher to be playing in a system where we have barely any of the ball and we don't create good quality chances, what's he going to poach? He can't poach anything from his own half, can he? So I think to say that he's 10 plus goals a season while at Newcastle is a bit harsh. That's a good comment. Bring Callum Wilson in, although I would rather Josh King.
Callum Wilson or Josh King,
Oh, I'm on 10. I'm sorry, I'm sorting out the next video. It's a tough one now. Let me see myself first, because I can't see myself. Right, there we go. I'll take both, to be honest with you. I'd probably one of the two. I think they're both.
Yeah.
Remember, Manchester United wanted Josh King to sit on the bench, and they went for Garlo instead. So I'd probably take both of them. But for natural instinct coaching, I'd probably just shade Callum Wilson but Josh King could play in a couple of positions left and right as well. So I'll take both.
Yeah, not a bad shout. You've obviously done your instant match reaction on NFTV Extra. Can you give us a bit of a flavour of what you had to say on there?
Basically, Liverpool deserved the win. We only had, 2 real attempts, which was the Gayle goal and Longstaff after 5 minutes in the second half. You can't really argue that. The champions came to town, and if you were there, the right face. Lee, can I get a shout out? Thanks for all the hard work, mate. Yeah, the right fight. Thank you very much. You can't really argue that Liverpool's strength on the bench. You've got Salah, Firmino, Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Man, 4 world-class players sitting on the bench. We haven't even got 1 world-class player. Maybe Dubravka, you might have in that bracket underneath, but yeah. What about Decore as a midfielder? I was listening earlier on while I was setting up the next video. We do have a lot of centre midfielders, but it might be the case where, because if we don't sign Bentaleb, Matty does leave, that only leaves 3 centre midfielders, so we'll have to go into that market. Decore is not a bad shout. We'll probably look at those 3 sides that have all went down from Norwich. I think the rest of the Premier League, probably from 8 downwards, will probably look at those 3 squads and think we'll pluck the best ones from there. So I think Newcastle will look at it. Whether they can pay the fees or not is another question.
Yeah, Owen, I was just thinking as Lee was mentioning that given the state of the transfer market now, budgets are being slashed pretty much all around the Premier League. Are certain clubs going to be looking at Bournemouth, Norwich and Watford and seeing there's some real talent there to try and snatch from the relegated sides?
Definitely. It's like that every season. Every time a team goes down, there's the best ones are always picked out, plucked from the Championship and popped straight back into the Premier League. As you remember, you'll probably remember Fabianski moving from Swansea to West Ham. That's one of the most notable ones for me. But I think definitely teams will be looking at those 3 that have gone down this season. And there are some really, that's probably the best bunch of players I've seen go down in a long time. You've got De La Feu for Watford, Decore, Ismaila Sarr, Bournemouth.
Would you take Troy Deeney?
Yes, I'd take Troy Deeney. Yes, I bloody would take Troy Deeney. Bournemouth, you've got, I know Fraser's left on a free, but you got Fraser, you got Wilson. I know Harry Wilson's only there on loan, but you could kind of go in for him. You got Josh King, David Brooks. That's just to name a few. And then for Norwich, you've got the likes of, I know Pukki. He's been a bit on and off this season, but you got Pukki, you got Buendia, you got Onel Hernandez, you got Stiepermann. Even Tim Krul could easily be poached away from the Championship and plucked back into the Premier League as a backup goalkeeper. So the amount of quality that is in that relegation zone this year, I think it just sort of sums up the weird season we've had in the Premier League. To be honest, even quality is sunk. What's he trying to show us there?
Trying to show you Villa fans are having a pop at us.
Oh really?
Oh, yes. Our lovely Aston Villa fans are having a little pop at me because they managed to stay up with the 100 million that they've spent. Not going to lie, I wanted Villa to go down. And if I get stick for it, I don't care. I can't stand Aston Villa's fan base. I cannot fucking stand the whole lot of them.
No.
I would agree to an extent. I mean, there are a couple I do like. My roommate, I say roommate, she's my wife. But I like her.
Tell her I don't like the team that she supports. Tell her that.
No, I don't like the team she supports, but there you go. Stephen Carson, Max Aaron's good shout, but
Very good point.
I think he's in the sights of teams that are a lot better than us at the moment. But he's a talent, that's for sure. Lee, what have we got coming up for the rest of the evening before I let you go?
Yeah, you're going to try and get James on because I can see him walking around in his garden.
He's escaped from a mental asylum after saying he would scrap the whole squad and start again.
Squad. So we have scoring the players, which I've just set up on StreamYard. So that'll be Sam, Johnny, and Kyle is his last permanent video. That should be about 7:20. We shall go live for that, and then we've got the last word, which will probably be out about 10, 11 o'clock, where I've got a clip from Johnny and reaction from Bruce and one of the players and talk about the game.
Lovely stuff. Right. Thank you for coming on. Always nice to see you, pal. And we shall see you soon. That was Mr. NFTV, Lee Lawler. Owen.
Yeah.
Shall I play the yes-no game with you?
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
I'll give you all of my 10 questions, and then we will try James, because it looks like he's stopped walking now. So, Owen, yes, no, 10 questions, quick as you can, minus the, lag that we always seem to have on the stream. Here we go. Would you have taken 13th at the start of the season?
Yes.
Has Bruce done a good job?
Yes.
Was today's game the last under Mike Ashley?
Yes.
I wish. Will Joe Linton come good next season?
Yes.
Is Dubravka your player of the season?
Yes.
Should you get rid of Gayle, which we've already spoken about?
No.
Sign Danny Rose on a permanent?
Yes.
Will Andy Carroll score next season?
Yes.
Do we need a new right back?
I'm going to say yes.
And will ASM stay this summer?
Obviously. Yes.
That's what I like to hear. Third time's a charm. James. Please tell me you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hooray! Third time lucky. Right, the floor is yours. What have you got to say about today's defeat?
Well, obviously we started off really well with brilliant thinking by Shelby, kind of a De Bruyne-esque ball for Gayle to put it away. And then I couldn't understand why we sat back, to be honest. Playing 5 at the back at home to Liverpool, a weakened Liverpool team as well. I just don't understand that at all. You're playing Manquillo at right centre-back and Rose at left centre-back. I talked about this last week with Danny Rose. Like, how did they expect him to win a header in the air against, I know it wasn't him, it was Manquillo, but how did they expect the likes of Manquillo and Rose to win a header against Virgil van Dijk in the box? I mean, I was aware of him before the game because I knew he scored against us last season as well from like a set piece as well, even though it wasn't from a set piece. So I knew he's always very dangerous in the air and that. So yeah, we started off well, but from then on, it was all just downhill from there. We hardly had a chance. Liverpool dominated, and yeah, it was very boring game in the end.
Yeah, it was. It really did peter out, and it was just no real impetus from either side, was there? What were you thinking after Liverpool have just gone 2-1 up, and you see Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, and Roberto Firmino strip off and get ready to come on?
Well, just like what every other Newcastle fan would be like, oh my God, here we go again. Could be 3, could be 4, could be 5, possibly. It didn't surprise us, though, that he was going to do that. He was obviously going to bring the 3 of them on at some point in the game. But yeah, I was worried and I was surprised because they were quite wasteful sometimes. They could have had more, definitely. In terms of the goals, obviously, yeah, I've went through the Liverpool first goal. That's kind of like, for me, that's, well, all because of Bruce's lineup, in my opinion, the first goal. Second goal, for me, Dubravka, yes, he's been brilliant this season, but I think he should be doing better. But also Fernandez ducking under the ball as well. What's he doing there, ducking under the ball? You're getting paid like 40, 50 grand a week. put your head in front of it and that. What you doing, ducking your head and that. So yeah, and the third goal, again,
it was a good finish, wasn't it, from Mane?
It was a good finish, but I think we could have at least tried to get a block in, but it was a good finish, to be fair to him. So yeah, in the end, another defeat.
So let's just kind of on a positive, because one thing I think we need to balance out with Fernandes. What a tackle on Mo Salah. Salah's through on goal. We see it all the time. He's through, kind of cuts inside, bang, buries it in the corner. What a tackle from Fernandes, James.
Yeah, really good challenge from him. As soon as Salah had it, I was like, oh, you know what he's going to do here? He's going to square it to Mane. But fair play to Fernandes. I've just had a go at him for ducking, but he did get across to that as well. And I don't think he's a bad player at all. The reason I wouldn't keep him on is because he's aging. That's the only reason I wouldn't really keep him on. But yeah, good interception, fair play to him. I can do nothing but praise him for that, but I can also criticise him when he ducks his head under the ball.
I mean, barring the kind of minor mishap for the first goal today, how good has Fernandes been since restart? He's played every minute of every game, which, amazing to kind of blast on through that. How good has Fernandes been for you?
I think he's probably been just under the level of Dubravka, I'd say. You're probably looking out of 10, probably like 7.5 to like an 8.5. I mean, I wouldn't go all the way to like a 9 or a 10 because obviously there's these stupid things like ducking on the ball. But one thing I said it earlier, I have never seen Fernandes make an absolute howler, which is can only be a positive thing. I've seen him make little mistakes, but he's never made an absolute howler like I've seen from other defenders that we've had in the past and presently in our squad as well. So, yeah.
Lee's in the comments there with a post-match quote from Steve Bruce. All I want is what's best for this great club. If new owners come in and take the club forward, that's what we all want as Newcastle fans, as James disappears. Is Steve Bruce one of us at heart? Or is
I think he probably tries to be. I think he probably tries to be. And realistically, he is. But I think there's just been stuff. But my dad was showing me a clip from when he was on Sky Sports when he like retired and Newcastle playing Manchester United, and he was just. I know he's an ex-Man U player and like he respects Alex Ferguson and probably respects that club a lot as well. But just little things that he says sometimes, I just think, are you who do you care about more? Are you really a real Newcastle fan? I think. Now he's probably more so a Newcastle fan than he's ever been before, if that makes sense. Like in his footballing career, like I think he definitely wants the best for the club now, and I think he says quite a bit of stuff to get fans on side as well. But who knows? Who cares? Because even if I had it my way, he does not deserve the chance to manage Newcastle if we had a takeover, because it just seems stupid. Who buys, who spends millions of pounds on players and then goes, who should be our manager? Steve Bruce. Like, who does that? No one
Aston
ever.
Villa.
So, apart from but that's because it's Aston Villa, isn't it? What good decisions have Aston Villa ever made? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think he can say what he likes, but even if the takeover does go through, he doesn't deserve the opportunity to be Newcastle manager in that period, no matter what the English media say.
Okay. One comment that has caught my eye is from Taylor that I just put up before. The second part of this, Josh King or Callum Wilson for me. And to be honest, he thinks that Bournemouth would accept Gayle in a swap deal plus 9 or 10 million. What do you reckon to that, James? Yeah, what do you reckon to that, James? Because Gayle guaranteed 20 goals a season in the Championship. Bournemouth obviously will be looking to come straight back up. Would that be kind of deal that would suit both parties? Pondering. Look at it.
Looks like he's thinking long and hard about this one.
That's a really difficult question. That's a Paxman question. I might just leave him on like that for the rest of the show because it just makes us look like we're having some real intellectual, hard-hitting debate. But there you go. That was James, bless him. But yeah, Owen, you were saying before I asked it to a very static James, who I can still see he's frozen in the background there, just giving it that. What do you make for that deal? A little swap deal for Callum Wilson?
It's probably perfect for. It's probably perfect for Gayle. It's probably perfect for either Wilson or King. Like I said, I'd probably prefer King. It just fits both parties, I think. And yeah, we probably have to pay a little bit extra, but I mean, Gayle can see out his career in that league he loves the most, the one he scores the most goals in. Josh King gets his move back to the Premier League. We finally have a Premier League standard player, and Bournemouth are free from the Championship because they've got one of the highest scorers there. So I think it suits all parties, and it's a deal that I could definitely see happening if Newcastle get their stuff together and get a move on, because it won't be long before the likes of Wilson and King get poached. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if they're gone next week, to be honest.
Yeah. So I should just point you in the direction of NFTV Extra before we start to wrap up. Coming up on an NFTV Extra this week, we have another Greenwood and Mulliner show, which is myself and Johnny. If you haven't seen any of our Greenwood and Mulliner shows, we've done 5 now, where we get a different sporting star on each week, and we talk about their career and their memories and opinions on Newcastle United. So we've had PDC darts players Callum and Chris Dobie. We've had England cricket legend Steve Harmison. We've had World Snooker semi-finalist Gary Wilson. And we've also had Paralympic London 2012 gold medal winning Joseph Craig MBE. This Wednesday, however, at 8:30 p.m, we have a former Newcastle United player. Keep an eye out on our socials for that when we reveal it. So all I will say is it could be entertaining. Owen, you don't even know who it is yet, do you, Owen?
No, I'm very interested. Can we have a clue? I think me and all the NFTV subscribers would love to have a very subtle but not difficult clue.
It's an entertainer. That's all you're getting at me. You've got to
okay.
follow our socials at Newcastle Fans TV on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yep.
But it's an entertainer. Wednesday, 8:30 p.m, live on NFTV Extra with myself and Johnny. So we've got around about just under 10 minutes left now. So if you do fancy coming on talking to myself and Owen, click on the link in the description and on the live chat. To be honest, I'm disappointed Fordy hasn't come on this week because, last week we laid down a challenge. He was going to come on dressed as Rude Hullet with a trophy if Newcastle would have won today. The trophy signifying Steve Bruce getting more points than Rafa. But, that didn't happen. Lee says no clue. I'm not allowed to give a clue. We have had one guess. Stephen Carson has guessed at Lee Clark. I can neither confirm nor deny Lee Clark. You'll have to wait and see. But it's good. Really excited for it. Can't wait. But, okay. Guesses are flooding in. Kevin Scott, is it Ginola? I can reveal it's not David Ginola.
All right, let me have my guess now. My turn to guess. It's not going to be Philippe Albert.
Well, no, it's not. You're right. It's not going to be Philippe Albert.
That's my guess. See, wasn't wrong. Mystic.
There, he's not. Another clue. He's not been on the channel before.
Oof.
So there you go.
Aspria.
I wish. Can you imagine it?
How'd you imagine that?
Let loose.
You could not keep that a secret, man. You'd have to tell everyone.
No, I would be telling everyone. I mean, quick little word on Callum Watts, who's made his debut today. Very proud moment for him. Some say he should have made it against Brighton on Monday, but he eventually came on for Danny Rose. How do you think he got on? Do you think much of him? Has he got potential?
to be honest with you, I've wanted him to make his debut for quite a while now, to be honest. I think you could see he's got potential. I think to maybe not start him on Monday and then to just whack him in for the second half today. It's not really enough time to judge him. I feel like if you started him on Monday, it would have been a more appropriate setting, and you would have been able to give him near enough full game time. But I don't know. Let's see what next season brings. Hopefully, he's not loaned out again. I think the thing that frustrates me with the club is that there's times where players are like, yeah, they're ready to make that step up next season. They could be like third or fourth choice. I know. I thought that about Sorensen last season. I think it was. It came like January time, and this season I thought, okay, maybe Sorensen will be kept around the first team squad. He wasn't, and I really hope that doesn't happen with Callum Watts. I think he's definitely, if there is going to be centre back sold in the summer, which there probably will be, because I think people forget we have Clark, Lejeune, who both haven't made appearances for quite a while now. So if that does happen, then why not give Watts his chance?
Sam West in the comments has had a guess. Is it Prince Mohammed bin Salman? Was he an entertainer? I mean, he might have been.
It could be. He could be
But
an entertainer. You know, if we get taken over, he could be a real entertainer. Can't wait to see him dancing around the halftime, centre circle at halftime.
I wish, but it's not. It's not the Prince, unfortunately. But right, coming up on Newcastle Fans TV, we have, as I say, Scoring the Players, hosted by Johnny, and I will be on that along with the departing Kyle Thompson, who is leaving us after today, unfortunately. Owen, has he made a big mistake?
I think as it stands, I think he probably thinks he hasn't, but I think, and for the moment, I think he needs it. But I think give it like 3 months,
Just a yes
maybe
or no.
less. 3 months or less.
I mean, Tanner says he's back by Christmas. So
yeah,
we've
or
got
at
that.
least wants to come back by Christmas.
Yeah, so we've got that, Scoring the Players, and then Lee is back with the last word. My thanks to you, Owen, and everyone else who has come on, not just tonight, but since restart. It's been a fantastic new show that we've done. I've thoroughly enjoyed everyone, even though I've never hosted when we've won a game. So hopefully that can change next season. Thanks for all your interaction too in the live chat. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already to Newcastle Fans TV. So, Scoring the Players is coming up in about 15-20 minutes time. So we'll see you on there. Stay tuned to NFTV.